And we're back.
What's up, y'all? You know what time it is.
One
It's
Piece,
about to be that time.
1163. How's everybody doing? Catching up on the chat here.
You loyal.
Love seeing everybody. Shout out to DK. Remember 33 months. Savage. Alright. Let's pull this up. We're going to go into it.
You loyal.
Good to see there's no break. But, I mean, can always change these days. Okay, so we've got chapter 1163, titled Promise. We've got Monkey D. Luffy with some monkeys. Swinging through the skies. It's kind of reminding me of World Seeker. I don't know, it just makes me think of World Seeker, the game. Luffy doing parkour all over town with white gibbons. Shout out to Crush. Savage. For 11 months. Got to pop out the chat, so I have it on the side here. Jane said, Randy, please tell me you haven't been spoiled. Nope. Not at all. I got the impression that there's some divisive stuff in this chapter, but I haven't been spoiled on anything specific. So that was page 1. Now we're on to page 2. All right. We've got Saturn Emu. They just did the fusion dance, threw on the Patara earrings. All right. Saint Saturn, why do you look like that? Are those devil fruit powers? It's crazy that these low-level Marines can even recognize that this is at all Saturn. Like, other than the tiny little part of his face, it doesn't look like it. Demon docking, yeah. Nuisances. Oh, God. These fodders are gonna need to be replaced. To be honest, though, with this fusion, it looks like they did it wrong. All right, next page. We've got some friendly fire here on purpose. Some unfriendly fire. Why is it attacking the Marines? Whose side is it on? Nobody's side. Next page. All units withdraw. Keep your distance. Yeah, do not attack. Secure an escape route. Okay, we got Roger here. Hey, get up, guys. Ah, it hurts, but it's so fascinating. What are you talking about? I can't believe what it did to my crew. Come on, give these guys backup. Take some treasure and split. Not again. You better not get yourself in trouble. Garp, what's going on here? What's that monster? I don't know. Saint Saturn just started transforming before our eyes. Five elders, huh? Never seen them before. Looks about right for the kind of freak who'd sit atop those maggots. Vice Admiral Garp, Ixnay on the Andersley. Alright. We got Pig Latin in One Piece.
I'm gonna make a name for myself, yeah.
Shout out to LBST123. We're stronger together.
Together we're stronger.
Appreciate the 5 gift subs.
Together we're stronger.
Damien Bweezy, Rystack, Insomniac, Heartless Fang all got some emotes. Oh, this Big Stinky. Big Stinky, you changed your name? Gotcha. Alright, next page. Hey you, King of the Bilge Rats. You're here to kill me, aren't you? So we got Rocks, Aura farming in front of Emu again. So it was the Davy Jones. Yeah, the wrong guy. I never met him. However, promises are meant to be kept, which is exactly why thy kind must be erased from history. Promises. I mean, it's not the first time that we've heard of promises being a thing. Joy Boy didn't keep his promise to Poseidon. Right? Isn't that the implication between because of the apology? Or am I misremembering? Alright, next page. My world is still incomplete. It ain't your world. So I like that. I like that. That's my favorite line for a while. My world is still incomplete, which really puts into perspective a lot of Emu's motivations, right? Flooding the world, not once, but maybe twice, ready for a third time. What is their envisioned world in the first place? Look at Rocks. He dares attack Saint Saturn? Should we offer help, Rear Admiral? I don't... Of course we're helping out. Move it. Vice Admiral Garp. Oh, wait a second. Helping out which side? Okay, Garp, what are you doing here? Page. Pirates are making off with the treasure. Stop them. Those are world-class valuables. Any Easter eggs in this shot? This guy with the sword's got a tattoo that should be recognizable. Anyway, here we are with, what's his face, Captain John. It's wild out there. Kind of looks like Foxy's laugh. Ready to start hauling? Just say the word, Captain John. So long, Rocks Pirates. Okay, so he's ditching them, and this is how he gets his treasure that Buggy is after. It's all spoils from God Valley, maybe. Well, I was right that this guy was mean, it's not a direct backstab, but I would still consider it a backstab. You know, not standing your ground with the rest of them. And we got Dragon running with Shanks. Oh, what's over there? I hear screaming. There's a Navy ship, a Marine ship through the trees. They'll be able to protect the child. Huh? Looks like Dragon is either falling or being levitated into the air. Whoa. Come back, treasure chest. All the metal is reacting to something that's being pulled away from us. Okay, confirmation. Confirmation that Captain John does have Kiss fruit. Maybe. Come to me, my treasures. This panel is hard. This goes hard. I like this. I'm just looking at this like this is cooler than anything Kid has ever done. Give me a solo panel of Kid that beats this. This is all these treasure chests. Like, this is not only that, this is some pirate activity. And I just have to call that, because we, like, even though this is a pirate show, like a pirate series, we do not get a lot of pirating. Especially in the traditional sense. Like, this man is a pirate, and he is using his magical powers to get a bunch of gold, and that is just prime pirate activity. This man has been in the background, like, just slurping down some liquor like Kareha the entire flashback, and then just comes out with this gigantic Aura Farm panel. And I love it. Big Eater. This is the next page here. That's Captain John's magnet power. There's a powerful pull coming from the southeast entrance to the valley. Move it. Let them figure that out. Roger. Stupid John. Sky Snake Red Cannon. There's no... Alright, so first of all, there's no way that this is Mr. Five's power. Or something. Like is he flinging a booger like Mr. Five? No way. There's no way. Adamus, member for 5 months, said Jiki Jiki no Mi only attracts bums. Mr. Five upscale. This has to be a different fruit. This has to be a different... There's no way that, like... that automatically you're just like, yeah, I gotta... Like, that both of these people were digging into their nostrils and sending explosive boogers around. This is breaking me, guys. Like, I mean, Mr. Five has always been cool, right? But I mean, like, he was kind of underutilized, then dispatched early, and obviously, like, didn't come back like everybody else. So for his power to come back like this, that's crazy. But then it also makes me want to, like, know what the Crocodile connection is. Like, how did Mr. Five get this for, like, did he get it from Crocodile? And if Crocodile got it, like, would he buy it from Moria? Did Moria, like what? I want to know the path of these fruits, but I also want to know, like, did Mr. Five hear about the way that this dude used it and was just like, well, you know, what's his name, Ganswy? You know, Ganswy, like, would use his boogers, and Mr. Five's like, oh, okay, I'll do the same thing. I would have liked to have seen, like, obviously seeing this guy fling a booger means that, you know, like, lets the audience see, like, automatically connect that this is the bomb fruit. But what would have been more interesting to me is if we saw this guy utilizing it in a way that Mr. Five wasn't even thinking of. But I don't know. It's still fun. Regardless, it's fun.
You loyal.
Shout out to Barry Motivated, member for 53 months. I'm late, but hello everyone. Like the stream. We're on page 9, Barry. I was geeking over the Captain John Magnet panel, and then I've been sitting here for about 5 minutes, just broken at the fact that the Mr. Five's fruit has come back.
You loyal.
Sky Snake Red Cannon. Whew. All right, so anyway, I'm on the next page. So now we see confirmation that this is the bomb fruit. Obviously, Chad has already told me, but big explosion. John's falling down. Everything is falling down from the sky, including Dragon. Shanks probably has like 3 concussions by now. Shiki shows up. Gansby, why did you shoot John? You really think he's going to split that treasure with us? Each of those chests is worth at least 1 billion berries. That's all, folks. Anybody want to keep it to himself? Yeah. Shiki has a extreme reaction to that, and then we cut back to Garp. You can't, Vice Admiral. That's the supreme authority of the government up there. What, that vermin? Let me try 2, Rox. Damn it, Kaido, wait right there. Got Big Mom flying in on Zeus. It's just crazy to think that Zeus was here at God Valley and is now just casually with Nami. Alright, Big Mom yells, I'm gonna kill you. Got Durag Linlin is back. What are you, jealous? Check this out. We got Kaido blasting. Whitebeard's gearing up. Rox is gearing up. Roger's gearing up. Garp's gearing up. So it looks like they're all working together to go after Emu. It's great. Wow. Full double page. A true double page. No splits, nothing. You know Oda's serious when he does these. We got Galaxy Impact, Divine Departure, Pandemonium from Rocks, Dragon Breath from Kaido, Coco Sovereignty from Big Mom, and Chalk Hakua from Whitebeard. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Is this the first named attack from Whitebeard? Because I feel like he was just, in Marineford, he was just throwing, like, cracks around and not naming anything. First named attack, I'm correct. Alright, yeah, like, this is... Alright, hey. All great fighters call out their finishing moves. Yeah. And we talked about this being a possibility that they would all work together to take down Emu. And that it's just the propaganda. But also, like, Garp needed this. Garp needed this. The fact that Garp is actively going against the government. If he would have stood in front of Emu, that would have been it would have been wrap for Garp. And it seemed like, you know, and a good misdirect from Oda. Like, this is the way I always envisioned everything, but there definitely were some moments in this flashback that was just like, what side is Garp really? Like, I know he hates the Celestial Dragons and all that, but what's going on here? Joey Bob definitely speaking to the next thing in my mind here, which is how Garp was allowed to stay in the Marines. So that'll get answered. But this is a phenomenal spread. And I'm going to move on to the next page here. It's going to be page 14. We've got Emu kind of disappearing, dissipating from all of these attacks. Or doing something. Imploding, exploding. Big Conqueror's Hockey. Okay, so this is why no one knows what the hell happened on the island, because there was all the fodder fell asleep. What's going on over there? Armageddon or something? Look at all the chests. Pick them up. Okay, so these are Roger's guys. This is how they get the treasure. Dahaha, Rayleigh's always got his eye on the prize. Never forget a pirate's true calling. Alright, so Bat Boy over here grabs some chests. Back to Dragon. This is all insane. I need to at least save the baby. What? Where'd he go? The dragon clutching onto this tree for dear life, not realizing that he doesn't have the child. And then Shanks just crawls into the chest on his own. So that's now. Let's keep in mind that that's important first and foremost here, because there's fate in the story, right? It's a theme that Oda plays around with. Dragon saved Shanks and allowed for this to happen. But Oda chose not to have Dragon deliberately hide Shanks in the chest. Shanks did this to himself as a 1-year-old, leading to him getting it with Roger. Might have been, and it's interesting either way, because it's like if Dragon had put him in the chest, then it's like deliberately setting Luffy on his path. Shanks accidentally going in the chest takes the onus of all of it away and leaves it to an omniscient fate. You can't say it's directly anybody's fault anymore, even with the assist. It's more like now it's an assist from Dragon. Alright, I'm moving on to the next page. We'll talk more about that later. I can't spit out what I've already eaten. Give me money then. Oh, that's Kaido and Big Mom bickering. I can see them running through the distant forest. My blow did the trick. No, it was mine. Alright, so Garp and Roger are doing a Zoro Sanji thing here. Hey, what are you talking about? New Davies, woman and child. Striving so very hard to live. Pestilence that must not be unleashed upon the world. Whatever you're thinking, don't do it. Rocks is slicing up Mimu. Boom, boom. Next page. Moo. I will do nothing. What is this? It doesn't even hurt. Oh. It's like stabbed rocks. Thou wilt end thine own bloodline. What? Slaughter thy wife and child. Crazy? I'm not gonna. Domi Reversi. Yeah. As expected. We all knew this was going to happen. In the same way that the big twist in season 2 of Peacemaker was known by everybody ahead of time also. It's tragic, but it's here. Wow. Oh, all right. So, this is a good one. I'll decide next week if I'm going to consider this or next chapter my birthday chapter. I guess it's probably more reasonable to say that next week is. Yeah, next week makes more sense. All right. So we've got Emu going against the Marines and different pirates. We got a really great stand from Rocks against Emu. Garp finally picks a side. Dragon gives Shanks a concussion. John Aura farms and gets his treasure, maybe? I still think he's going to walk away with a lot of this stuff somehow. Because obviously we know in the present that he had a great treasure. Or maybe he just lied. Maybe he's, you know, there is no Captain John's treasure. Ganswee's got the Mr. 5 fruit. Shiki appears to... There's something up at this Shiki panel. Anybody want to keep it all to himself? You know, I mean, is Oda trying to say that Shiki's going to go and, like, take the treasure now? And betray everybody? Like, I feel like Shiki's got to get involved in this somehow. I feel like he's really missing in the action here for how prominent he's been. Especially considering, like, he was specifically called out by Sengoku in 957. So he's got to go up against Domi Reversi Rocks somehow. We've got the phenomenal spread. Everybody attacking Emu at the same time. The connective tissue of the Roger Pirates getting the treasure, which includes Shanks, which will tie into Volume 4 Billion, other than the fact that Roger has a mustache in Volume 4 Billion and clearly does not have a mustache here. But he's still got time to grow one. Just gotta will it. Roger's gonna eat the mustache fruit, and then it's just gonna grow. And then Domi Reversi Rocks. There's a chance that Rocks does kill Eris. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Teach survives, but you know, we haven't seen Eris in the present, so somewhere between this and joining Whitebeard, she probably dies, and we'll see if it's here. Could potentially be the big tragedy of this flashback. We will come to find out. Let's get these likes up, guys. Thanks again, everybody, for being here, chatting, talking about everything. We're going to turn the attention to the chat now. Shout out to Barry. Superden said, by the way, Mama Berry is officially caught up to the anime. And I had just shown her the One Piece live action posters with Dory and Brogy before they show up. She was so hyped. Yeah, they look great. All that stuff looks great. So excited for everybody to eventually see more. Wheezy said, and this is where every content creator minus Morge hated the chapter. Why do people... What's wrong with the chapter? What are we talking about, guys? Did people like is Rox getting Domi reversied a surprise to people? Haven't we been talking about this? It's like the only way to like actually end this, and like the whole purpose of us getting the God Valley flashback after seeing Domi reversies, because it plays into that. And the only reason we never got God Valley earlier was because Oda didn't want to reveal Domi reversy in the flashback. He wanted it to be in the present and then be in the flashback. Shout out to Chin, member for 49 months, said Mr. 5 Devil Fruit is better than Kit's Devil Fruit, even in a flashback. It takes an L. Ah. Oh, I love that. I'm just reading everything here. Joey Bob, I did not expect Garp and Roger killing Zebek to save Teach and Eris. See, now that's gonna be like now I was talking about the fate thing with Shanks, right? If that ends up being the case, which is likely, then that is direct intervention. Because Roger saving Teach eventually leads to his own child's death, which is wild. If that ends up being the case. Which, again, likely. Hey, Roger. Just saw Rogers in the chat. Said, I definitely enjoyed it too. Prashna said, the big thing the community is talking about this week is the extent of the Reversi power. What are its limits? Big theory is that it can only be used against someone in their homeland? I don't like that. Being restricted to the homeland, that's... I don't know, that's kind of lame. I mean, I think that's just like more of a coincidental thing that the only two instances that we've ever seen of the power involves people getting reversied in their homeland. And I think that, you know, we will see when we get back to the present, some people are going to get reversied that are not in their homeland. Roger said, yeah, I was told that a lot of people didn't like it. I get not liking it, but it was telegraphed very heavily, so I think most of us were pretty prepared that it was going to happen. Is this a thing where people are upset that Rox allowed himself to get whammied? Like, is it a thing where people want Emu to, like, try and do it, and then Rox is like, haha, got you, my hockey's so strong, you can't Domi reversey me. You know, you want to Uno reverse the Domi reversey? That's what Luffy's gonna do. Like, the Gear 5 power is going to Uno reverse Domi reversey. Everybody's saying that people didn't like it, but they're not really explaining why. Or maybe I just didn't read that part in the chat, but that's the... 100%, yeah. Because we love rocks already, that's why. Okay, but loving rocks just means Oda did a good job. Right? Like this character, one, we've only known his name for 5 years. You know, it's just like, I don't know, 8% of the story or something. And the math is way off. But I mean, like, I'm being, it's hyperbole. But it's like, this character hasn't been around for a long time. We only just visually saw him in these past 4 months. So over the course of these 4 months, he developed an amazing character. But we know they're not in the present. We know that they are dead. It's heavily implied. This was always going to end in tragedy. So people getting upset about, like, oh, we're at the tragic part. Like, I don't see what. This man was introduced aura farming in front of Emu. Oda probably cannot create a character as cool as he's done here. Like, he pulled out all the stops. But this has to happen. So, just because he gets whammied, he goes out maybe like a chump, doesn't undermine everything that he did beforehand. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that all of the other stuff was cool. It's just a tragic thing, like that catapults and trampolines Blackbeard to be doing what he's doing in the present. There's so much that this is a jumping off point for. So to get upset about it is just, you know, just being mad that, like, a character is going to die. And but, you know, the thing is like, it's not like, I can't remember it, but there, I don't know, there's like some famous movie or story or something that like starts with a narration about like, today's the day I die, you know? And it's like, I can't remember which one it is, or like what essentially I'm thinking of, but that's basically what this is. Like, we entered this flashback. It's like, this character is cool. They are going to die. They are going to be turned against their own people. Like, it's just, nobody should have been surprised by this. Roger said Luffy is 1,000,000% going to have a reversey type deal. Yeah, but I also, like, my big theory, and it's been my theory since Bonnie went Gear 5, and then Domi reversey just kind of like made it even more apparent in my mind, is that I feel Luffy is going to have his own Domi reversey where he's going to be giving people Gear 5 powers. So then it's just going to be like a game board where Emu is turning everybody into, like, you know, these like black pieces on the board, and Luffy is turning like the pieces of the board white, and then it's going to look like a game board, and it's just Gear 5 versus Domi reverses. And probably what's going to happen. I just said this is why we're done. Yeah. Oh man, miss you, buddy. We gotta hang soon. Let's see what everybody else is talking about here, because I talked for a while without like actually reading the chat.
Savage.
Jacob said, completely agree, Randy. Plus, this is weekly reading. We'll see how it ends. Chaos Pudding. We've only seen Reversey used twice on screen, and we know nothing about how it works definitively.
You loyal.
Missile Monkey, heck, Mihawk said it in Marineford. Luffy has the most powerful ability of turning people to his side. We don't comment on it because Luffy has natural charisma. Emu here is forced conscription. Yeah. And the thing is, when Luffy does his own version of Domi Reversi, it's going to be like the thing with Bonnie, where he's going to inspire people. Like that's what I feel like that's what Oda is doing with this story. When the Bonnie thing happened, anybody who was in chat when that was happening, or watch the videos that I made after that happened, it really solidified some things for me. It's like, this is a story at its core, strip everything away, is about believing in yourself, going after your own dreams against all odds. And you see Luffy is able to inspire Bonnie to the point that she literally wants to be Luffy so bad that she becomes Luffy, basically. And I think that's... Some people have criticized it, thinking that it's stupid. I've never seen Naruto. People have commented that whatever idea I have is how Naruto ends, or something happens in Naruto where everybody gets Naruto powers or something. And I don't mean to be like reductive or, sound like a guy who's saying Pokemon instead of Pokemon when I'm talking about Naruto.
Loyal.
I haven't watched it. But it's like, it just feels thematically appropriate with everything that's been happening in the past few arcs to have Luffy inspiring all of his allies, all of his crew members, and being the reason that they're able to like level up and have, Gear 5 Usopp and Gear 5 Robin and all and Gear 5 Chopper and whatever. And it's just like, that's the ultimate he's able to bring out the ultimate version of everybody as they go for their dreams. Maybe it doesn't happen. But if it does, I expect people to have a problem with it, just like they have a problem with what happened in this chapter, but I don't. Shout out to Cape Pro 88. Appreciate the super. So tinfoil idea from last chapter. Rock says Emu is the world. The world is full of people governed by their morals and ideals. People had no choice but to do said thing to achieve or protect something or someone. Basically, it's will versus desire. I mean, it may be like a meta commentary on people who get stuck doing normal thing. Like, I may be like super overanalyzing this, right? But it's like, I know that it's a common thing, and I don't actually know Oda's backstory enough to really like speak on this or say that this is the case, right? And this goes for a lot of artists. Luckily, it wasn't the case, with me and my mom or anything like that. But I know that a lot of people who want to get into the arts or like do something creative or do something that's a little bit out of the norm, right? Which is essentially what everybody in One Piece is trying to do, right? Everybody's trying to do these like ridiculous, sometimes completely intangible things. And parents in the real world will stand in the way of that. Like, no, you should be a doctor. You should be this. You should, you gotta follow the rules. You gotta walk the path. You gotta walk in my footsteps. You walk in your grandparents' footsteps. Like, these are stories that, there's a lot of people's lives, and it's fine. But it, again, this could be an overanalyzation, but I mean, like, just what you're talking about here, K-Pro, is like, maybe that's what the Marines and GARP represents, right? The idea of, like, you know, like, GARP is that person that's just like, you've got to be a Marine. You got to be a Marine. You can't be a pirate, you know? And it's like, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what happened in Oda's life before he, you know, became one of the most, you know, like, he's number 7 on the top authors of all time. It's a scary thing to jump into the arts, to jump into something creative, to jump into something that has no, you know, guarantees. A lot of things in life don't have any guarantees. It's not like if you go and get a decree to be a doctor, you're going to automatically go and get a job at, you know, a hospital or a top hospital or anything like that. Like, you got to work for everything. But maybe that's something, you know, like Oda's like putting a little bit of himself into these things where there were people who told him that he couldn't do things, and then Luffy is like that embodiment of like no, I'm going to do it, I am going to do it, and he wants people to be inspired to go and do things as well and do the things that they want to do. But then some people do get stuck. They do end up in a, you know, a 9-to-5 or anything that doesn't necessarily fulfill them to the, and that can get depressing and all of that. But that's also where, you know, people have hobbies and people find things, and then, you know, there's more to life than just what your job is and what anything is. So, you know, family comes into play, and there's a lot of different factors to life, and One Piece as a story is like an escape to all of that. But I think that there's meta commentaries where you can break it down and realize that it's actually focusing in and honing in on some of that stuff. So when you're saying that, you know, there's the people who had no choice but do the said thing, I don't know, that's what that makes me think of. Adam S. supered and said, Emu won't be able to reverse characters with Liberators hockey. Luffy and Joy Boy don't want to conquer, they liberate others and free them, calling it. I like Liberators hockey as a name. Like, that's cool. But you're basically speaking to the like, what I've been talking about. Like, when Luffy reverses people or whatever, it's making them the most free. He's actually liberating them. He's taking away the inhibitions, the things in their minds that make them believe that they can't do something, right? Which is why, you know, I talked very long about specifically, I want it to happen to Usopp, right? Because he's the one who has the most inhibitions in his name, in his head. He's the one that's always saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. This isn't the way the world works. Like, this is crazy, right? And Oda has said that, like, Usopp is the audience. Did he say that, or is that my interpretation? I feel like he did say that at some point. And it's like, with Usopp being the audience, if Usopp is able to attain this power and become the, you know, the bravest warrior of the sea, and, you know, all this kind of stuff, that's Oda saying you can do it too, and inspiring, you know, a whole new generation of, you know, teenagers that are reading now to go and, you know, go after what they want, which doesn't always have to be the arts. Like, there are people that, like, Chopper wants to be a doctor, right? There are people that, you know, that is a calling for them. Arts was my call, you know, but it's like, there are people that it's like, you gotta study, you gotta do all that stuff, you gotta go there. One Piece is telling you you can do it, even when that little voice in your head tells you that you can't, which is, I think, like, ultimately, like, what he's trying to get at here. And I think that that's going to come even more through the story as we get more into this reversey stuff, which is like a it's just a commentary on everything that I'm talking about. Reversey is the, you know, the opposite. It's the forced thing. The thing where you have the overbearing parent, the overbearing force in your life that's just like, no fun. You want to be a doctor? No, you can't be a doctor. We're all blacksmiths, you know? We're tailors. You have to run the tail. You have to run our restaurant. You can't go and be a postal worker. Like I don't whatever. It's just. But I just, that's my read of the story. That's my interpretation. It's been my interpretation for a long time. It's been fleshed out in the past year or so, even more. And I feel like it's just like honing in on this stuff. Oh, Roger said he's going to Japan in November. Enjoy. Lydia Raven Queen, member for 22 months, said, the reason I thought Rox wouldn't get reversied is because that means Garp is directly fighting Emu in this case. I need to see him have some direct consequences from his actions here. Yeah, and that's going to be the interesting thing. As I brought up a little bit, during the read, and some people in chat also mentioned it. It's just like, how did this man keep his job? I mean, maybe talk no jutsu. He's like, I don't know. I just saw some like crazy thing and I just fought it. I don't know. They just believed him. I don't know. Shout out to K Pro with a big super. Appreciate it. Oh man.
Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah.
K Pro said, sorry, as long as you will do anything to achieve something, Emu automatically has dominion, Domi Reversi, over you, which is like everyone except Luffy, which I believe actually gets stronger the more people believe in him. Enter the cleansing. Yeah, and I think that, it's cool that you bring up the cleansing line, right? Because, man, what an ominous line from, I think it was Ethan Barron who said it. It's time for another great cleansing. Chapter 907. And I'd love if that got reversied. Like, here is the great cleansing, but it's coming from Luffy, and the cleansing is of evil. It's of doubt. It's just giving everybody that freedom. Shout out to AJ1218, member for 53 months. I can't wait for Luffy to be Reversey. Then he can go from Joy Boy to Sad Boy and be my OC from 2004 when I started reading One Piece. Oh, Sad Boy. Young Pablo 4827 said, Randy, where you been? Here every chapter. I've been here. Every single chapter on Sundays when it comes out. We haven't missed one. Jacob said, true, spin facts, Randy. It's like how every one of the crew or allies Luffy encounters first are stuck in life due to various reasons, and he frees them and gives them hope. He has been the warrior of liberation. Everywhere he goes, like, you can sit there and you can pick any arc. Arlong Park. Everybody was under the oppressive foot of Arlong. What did Luffy do? He came in, freed them from their shackles. Orange Town, right? Everybody's under the boot of Buggy. Luffy comes in, frees them from their shackles. Drum Island just got, destroyed by Blackbeard. Wappa wants to come in, keep everybody under his oppressive foot. Comes in, frees them from their shackles. Crocodiles. You literally could do it every arc, right? Enel. Literally, he's got Skypian slaves building his arc. Luffy comes in and frees them from the shackles. It's what the story is about. Sad D boy is Sabo though. Right. Sad boy already exists. It's Sadibo. Nightmare Luffy, it's gonna happen again. I don't want Nightmare Luffy, I want Dream Luffy. Is there a word for a good dream? Like, obviously a bad dream is a nightmare. And then everything else is just a dream. But is there a word for a great dream? A lucid dream means that you, while you're dreaming, you have a sense of lucidity where you're able to manipulate and control and interact with your dream. I'm not. Yo, chat, you're getting wild. Oh, no. I'm not going to read it. No. But is there a word that doesn't include the word dream? Like, nightmare doesn't include the word dream at all. But it would be interesting if like Crush said fantasy, and euphoria, and it would be interesting if those words, like if you think about etymology and you go back, like if a word like that did start to say that, you know, if someone woke up in the 1800s and was just like, wow, I really had a fantasy last night, you know, like and then books and popular culture kind of co-opted the word and it doesn't get used for something like that anymore. I don't know. The word got erased. Yeah. Seeing if there's anything else that I missed in the chat here. Joey Bob said, I think Luffy's version of reverse would be empowering others without gaining control or taking life. He empowers others to be better versions of themselves. Exactly. I mean, it's the idea of like the Grand Fleet. Like, I'm not in control of you guys. Like, whatever. You want to help me? Cool. You want to do whatever you want to do? Like, great. You want to fly my flag? Whatever. Like, you guys are free to do anything that you want.
Savage.
Shout out to my guy Luke. Super said, as if Garp didn't have a reason to hide Luffy before. Man's lineage gave both Nika and the revolutionaries anti-galaxy slapped the king of the world. But then continued to work for them. And that's why, like, I would really love if there was still, you know, I don't know if I doubt it's going to be the case any longer, but it's like the whole idea of Garp being the leader of Sword, or like, you know, like it was just, it's just like, because this guy needed something. Like, you can't be under the heel of the government and not trying to supplant them and subvert them in some way, but apparently he has. Times are tough, man. He's got to eat. Yeah, he needed to keep his job. He didn't want to get chased around, I guess. Crush said fantasy, late Middle English from Old French. Imagination, appearance, later phantom, fantasine. Make visible. Yeah, it's not directly like good dream, but Bonnie and Kuma wish for Nika in some way. Wish for Nika in some sense. Luffy is their lucid dream. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like, I think Luffy reversing people would be like giving, like, basically saying that the world that they live in is already a dream world, and Luffy would be, in a way, giving them lucidity to achieve the highest form of themselves. Resume, look at this. Jen said, wouldn't be surprised if Garp found its sword anyway. Kobe being trained by Garp and scattered by sword isn't coincidence. Hey, look, I'll take that W. Nobody was saying that before me, if it ends up happening. But, you know, there is still the evidence that, like, you know, if Garp was the head of sword, like, I don't have an answer for why Sengoku was, like, hiding his call with Corazon from him. You know, there's a lot of things that work in favor of it, but, you know, that's something that works against it. And I can devil's advocate my own theories too. AJ said, having been in the military, that the retirement pension's great. Makes a lot of people stay when they shouldn't. Yeah. So what else are other people talking about? Like what is the... Brandon said Jay didn't like Domi Reversi. That's probably because he loves rocks. He loves Blackbeard. I love them too. But, you know, Jay wants to see rocks continue. Jay wants to wants to read One Piece where Rocks is the main character forever. I guarantee you that, knowing Jay. And I'm not gonna fault him. People are crashing out over rocks being reversed. I just don't understand why. I feel like that would be like that. It's the equivalent of people crashing out over the, like, Peacemaker season 2 twist. Like, how did you not see it coming? What? JS Lizzie T said, I've seen all the popular reactions. Only Jay seemed to hate it, but said he'd have to see how Oda handles it. Jay said, Emu did Domi Reversi too easy to rocks. Prago said, based on other anime, this attack is too OP, and that Luffy will win in a Mickey way. Yeah, well, everything that I'm talking about Luffy doing the reverse Domi Reversi, they will absolutely call that Mickey. But that's what this... I don't know. Like, I can't say for a guarantee that that's what's going to happen. But it's what I feel he's building towards. Nobody got mad when Dorian Broggie got Domi reversing, though. In fact, they were happy. Well, we were seeing something for the first time also, and it was just like, oh, this is new. Time Lord, Brandon, member for 27 months. 27 months. I got to peep Jay's reaction to Rat King. By the way, off topic, but did you see the Chainsaw Man movie? Absolutely peak cinema, 10 out of 10. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it because when we were doing the read-through for Chainsaw Man here on the channel, the Rizé arc was easily my favorite part of all of it. So, and I feel like it's short enough to like be done pretty comprehensively in a movie. So I thought that was like a pretty unique way to go about it. Luke said Captain John Devil for reveal all these magnet used again Dunder. I love that part, Luke. It was the best use of that fruit in the entire series, bar none. Pulling a bunch of treasure too. It was the most, one of the top 3 best pirate moments in this pirate story. Specifically just pirating. Like actual pirating. People are also talking about Davy Jones. Robin said in Long Ring Longland that he was cursed to walk at the bottom of the ocean for eternity. Yeah, I mean, we'll eventually get a Davy Jones flashback, and, you know, I mean, like, that's the next thing. It's probably tied to the Void Century, I would hope. Just get it all together. Chaos Pudding said, are people going to crash out over Roger dying when we get his full flashback? People are upset about Roger dying? He's in chapter 1. Yeah. AJ said some people always find some reason to hate something. Yeah, I mean... being divisive for the sake of being divisive gets old. You know, when something doesn't work, yeah, we can talk about it and we can agree on it, but it's just... it's probably an overreaction to reading weekly, the exhaustion of chapter break, chapter break, chapter break, chapter break. Or chapter break, break, chapter, you know, whatever. And just wanting to see... yeah, like, cool things. Like, God Valley's been hyped up for so long. That people probably want more of the big splash panel that we got where all 6 of them are fighting. And there's a lot of people that read One Piece like that. You know, it's like they want more, and, you know, maybe what I could understand the feeling if it's like, I'm upset because Rox got taken out so quickly, right? Valid concern. If it's, I'm upset because Rox got Domi reversied, no, that's been telegraphed. That's where the story's going. Like that's what's got to happen to move this plot forward in the first place. But I'm upset because I wanted to see Rox and Emu like clash and fight a little bit more. Okay, fair. We got one big splash panel and then he gets turned, right? But on the realistic other side of that, just saw an article that was being shared around where it was like, Luffy hasn't appeared in the manga for 4 months. There's plenty of readers, a high percentage probably, that do not care about the God Valley flashback in the way that we do in the chat, and are just waiting for Luffy to appear. Like, they read it for the Straw Hats. So being 4 months without the Straw Hats is, the equivalent of the ratings, not to this extent, but, it's like there's an element of like, the Kobe Meppo cover story being like a terrible ratings thing for the anime, to the point where they wanted to do any more cover stories. But God Valley at least has been like hyped up for so long that people are interested in it. But there are the Straw Hat purists that are just like, I don't care about these flashbacks. I just want to get to the Straw Hats. So there's an element of that that's probably breathing down Oda's neck. So he's like, he's been taking his time with this flashback, which I appreciate. He's not like scrambling through. But there are elements where it's like, maybe we could have a breath here. Maybe this could be, like we could live here a little longer. This could be Marineford length if we wanted it to be. A whole 30 chapter Marineford style God Valley would be awesome. We're not going to get that because it's not the main characters. We're just getting the highlights. So, I don't know. You fill in the blanks yourself sometimes. And shout out to Veronica, supered. Appreciate it, Veronica. Said, hi Randy, sorry I've been busy lately. Nice to watch you live again. God Valley flashback reminds me of Star Wars 1, 2, 3 because you already watch 4, 5, 6, so you know it's not going to be pleasant. Story where heroes fail, where the system is stronger. I agree. Yeah. This legitimately is the equivalent of like the Star Wars prequels. Like that's on the money right there. Because we're also in real time getting, even though, like Anakin was a focal point of the prequels, right? Teach is not getting the exact screen time that Anakin did in the prequels, but this is an origin, for the most part, a really long-winded origin, big flashback that is kind of also working as a Teach flashback. Our Darth Vader, like our big bad right now. So Novum2915, member for 52 months, said it's amazing how much God Valley recontextualizes. Yeah, and I mean, it goes down to the, the fate discussions that I've been talking about each week, where every little thing is rippling into the present. So, if Roger ends up being single-handedly responsible for saving Teach, he's also single-handedly responsible for the death of his son, right? That's tragic. Dragon saves Shanks. He's not responsible for getting him into the treasure chest, but he is responsible for him getting to the point where Shanks can get into the treasure chest himself, which then eventually this man inspires his own son to become the, second or third coming of Nika here, and liberating the world, right? So it's like, and if Whitebeard didn't come in and save Dragon from getting killed by that Holy Knight, Luffy wouldn't even be born, right? So it's like there's so many layers of things that you can kind of pinpoint and understand. And I saw someone, and I'm sorry, I wanted to read it out loud, but I got caught up with something, so I don't remember who said it, but someone pointed out the line that Kaido had, where he said Whitebeard did it right? Which is a line that we've talked about over the years and stuff like that, especially in the context of God Valley. And I feel like I specifically brought that line up in multiple videos that I've made about rocks, because that line alone, within the context of it, always seemed like, you know, it's like when someone does it right, that means that obviously someone did it wrong, right? So Rox's death was never telegraphed to us as like this grand stand, like this guy went all out against Emu and you know, died standing up and didn't get any scars on his back and all that, and you know, whatever. Like, no, like he's gonna go down in an awful way. He's gonna like be chasing his family down, turning Teach into the nightmare version of himself that we see in the present, right? Because here's this, you know, like imagine, you know, there's like this 1-year-old, 2-year-old kid is being like chased down by a demonic version of their father, maybe murders his mom in front of him, right? That's crazy. And then probably gets stabbed in the back by like all of them. Garp. Like, we'll probably see a version of the panel that we got today, where it's Garp, Roger, Lin, Whitebeard, Kaido, probably Shiki gets involved in all this, and then they're all jumping him in the same way that Blackbeard eventually jumps Whitebeard, right? And if that's the case too, then this is something that also Teach is seeing. And I'd actually appreciate if we did get something like that, because it would, we're talking about recontextualizations, it would recontextualize the way that Blackbeard goes about jumping Whitebeard, right? If that's what happened to his dad, he'd be riding on the ship of a guy that was partly responsible for killing his father, biding his time to get his revenge on him. And if Garp also had something to do with it, now Garp is in Blackbeard's clutches. He wants to do the same thing. He wants to go after everybody that went after his father. And he's just checking them off. Luffy already took care of, you know, Lin and Kaido in a way, unless they come back into the story. Lin probably more so than Kaido. Couldn't take out Roger. Taking out Garp is the next best thing. I doubt Rayleigh comes back and gets involved in anything. So technically, Blackbeard never had any problems with Rayleigh, which is probably why he didn't like want to fight Rayleigh. But it's like you just. I love thinking about these ripples and all that stuff, and it's going to be a really fun thing once it's all done to really look at it. Be like, okay, well, this led to this, which led to that, which then leads to all of this stuff way later on. Joey Bell said Rox was a mercy kill. Absolutely, but it's not going to look that way to the child version of Teach. AJ said, using the Star Wars metaphor, as long as Oda doesn't go to the Star Wars route, I'll be happy. Yeah, we don't acknowledge the sequels. Not over here, at least. Like, they had the chance. They had a chance. But all anybody wanted was Luke, Leia, and Han in a scene together. Never happened. Can't now. Give the people what they want. Brandon said, a different translation for Whitebeard's move is Shattering Void, which makes sense because of Emu. Well, then I want to know what the reasoning and why is Chalk Hakua so different from that? Like, those are radically different. Like, there's got to be something missing there in the actual, like, Japanese. Someone's taking liberties, and I want to know who. Spencer said Rock's got turned too fast. We don't even know that 100%. He could be fighting it off the next. See, now that's a cool thing, right? That's the kind of thing where if we did see something like that, I feel like you would see guys like Jay and Brago like coming around to it, right? Because it's like, oh, this guy's like able to fight it, you know, he's trying to fight it, but it's so powerful. Like, that would show like all those guys want, and a lot of people, is they just want to keep seeing that Rox is built different. And seeing him get Domi Reversi shows that he's just like anybody else. And that's a problem for some people. But the point of the story is not to show that Rox is built different. It's to show that Luffy's built different. So it's whatever happens in this is what Luffy's going to change. Adam is super and said, have you watched Gurren Lagann? I have. Anti-Sparrow versus Simon is the same as Emu versus Luffy. It's been a long time since I saw Gurren Lagann. I don't remember it enough to speak on it. It's been like has to be at least 15 years since I've watched that. I only watched it once. Yep, we do still have to go back to Harold and Loki in this flashback. Let's see. Chris said, when I Google chalk Hakua, it just says that Hakua is Japanese for chalk, so chalk. Saeed said that the kanji for the move means sly breaker, void breaker, shattering, but the pronunciation of it is Hakua, which syncs up with chalk or white wall. I like white wall. But that also gives like smoker. So all smoker's attacks are like white blow and white snake, whatever. Void breaker is good too. But I'm not gonna lie, chalk Akua is kind of hard also, though. Steven just opted to keep the Japanese name and not translate it, I guess, this time. What's up, Ace? If Emu Domi reverses Blackbeard, what happens? Well, you know what would be interesting is if Blackbeard did a bunch of research and found out that the Darkness Fruit is like a counter to Emu or something. It would be really interesting if both Luffy and Blackbeard have counters to Emu. Blackbeard through him deliberately looking for that counter, and then Luffy through just fate. What do I think the next chapter will be about? All right, so we'll do this, and then I think I'll probably wrap things up for today. So, any last final thoughts or questions, go ahead and bring them out as I start to think about what's going to happen in the next chapter. Well, we're going to see the full transformation of Rocks, and we're going to... the next chapter is going to be very Eris and Teach focused. So we're going to see Rocks probably go after them. And then it's going to be a toss-up whether or not the others are still fighting Saturn, or if they're going to immediately start getting assaulted by Rocks. Eventually, I do think it's going to become a, like, we need to protect Eris and Teach situation. But I feel like, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like it's going to be Domi Reversi Rocks versus our assorted top tiers here first. Unless Emu's command overrides everything. Because if the command overrides everything, then Rox is just going to beeline it for Eris and Teach. In which case, maybe there's a split off where some of them are still fighting Emu, or Emu just stops being the focus of this, and then everybody just starts chasing after Rox to de-whammy him or protect the family. Ultimately, I am leaning towards there being this like grand moment where they all work together in the same way that they attacked Emu. They end up attacking Rox, but this time it works, and Rox ends up dying. But there's also an opportunity here where, you know, if there's some sort of B story that Oda wants to flesh out, the next chapter will be the, you know, the one to do it, where he's going to cut to that. If there's more Dragon story to tell, if there's more Rayleigh story to tell, I could see the Roger Pirates getting to the Oro Jackson, loading up the ship, and having a panel of like Rayleigh looking out and seeing, you know, the destruction from afar, or, you know, the hockey blasts happening from the sky, and like questioning whether or not he should get involved. I feel like we'll get a panel of something along those lines anyway, whether it's this chapter or the next. We'll start seeing what everybody else is going to be doing while all of this is going on. You know, there's going to be quick panels of everybody scrambling, trying to take as much treasure as they want, just like what's happening here. You know, there's like this gigantic distraction going on where a lot of people can get away. But more than anything, I think the next chapter will be the most Eris that we've gotten so far. And I wouldn't be opposed to a flashback within a flashback of Eris seeing Domi Reversi rocks and then jumping back to the first moment that they met. Something like that. Maybe some quick flashes of, you know, what their life was together when they were together. Which, if we don't get, I think would be disappointing now that I'm thinking about it, because I feel like it would be helpful. Shot of rocks holding Teach for the first time. Like, I'd like to see some sweeter moments to like kind of just amplify this darkness. Did I catch Gansui betraying Shiki? You know, I called out the shot of Shiki specifically, saying that there's got to be more for Shiki to do in this story, but I didn't notice the finger placement implying that he's about to flick a booger at him. So I'm glad that I like the dialogue told me that he was going to betray Shiki. But now I'm seeing that he's actually flicking a booger at him. Imagine Chopper will be the one finding out Emo's secret with his brain point. I'm convinced that Oda has forgotten that brain point is a thing. I think the last time we've seen that used was against Gadatsu, if I'm not wrong. Brandon said also, Randy, remember when Sengoku called Rocks a demon in the chapter? His first name dropped. As usual, the government is taking him when Domi does propaganda. Well, we talked about that it's all propaganda, and we talked about it from the perspective of him getting Domi Reversi would lead into that exact propaganda. That the only reason that Rocks is thought of as this monstrous villain and this bad guy is because he was Domi Reversi'd. So that's all holding true, right? But then the other thing too is like what did they call the archaeologists in Ohara? Demons. Anybody that's against the world government is a demon. A beam. He's gonna shoot a beam. Yeah. Chopper brain point is him all the time now. Said, hey, yeah, He's Smart Hulk. Ugh. All right, guys. This is a fun chapter. And I continue to enjoy God Valley. My favorite moment is Captain John bringing the treasure to him. Like I'm not kidding when I say that I yearn for pirates to actually be pirates in this story, so that is just really awesome to me. Go see Chainsaw. I'm going to. Like I said, the Rose arc was phenomenal in the manga, so I've been looking forward to this. The homeland theory is mainly because Domi Reversi in Latin means returned at home. Yeah, I still feel like that's weird, because then it implies that all One Piece beings have some sort of internal magnetic field that ties them to their islands. Like, then we have to start like explaining that, like, oh, in the same way that log poses have a magnetic field, like if you spend too long on an island, you adapt that magnetic field into your body, and then that's what Emu is able to manipulate. He's using the magnetic field of the island and the magnetic field of your body, and then flipping the poles. And I just made that sound really like plausible. But I don't think that that's I don't think that that's going to be it at all. Also, Randy, did you notice that Emu Domi reversing without the circles? I did, but I also think it's because Gunko is probably a lesser version of Emu. Whether or not this is like full power Emu and Emu gets hurt and never recovers after this battle, or it's because Emu's control, while fused with one of the 5 elders, is a better vessel than Gunko. Something along those lines. And then they need the circles. It just said it just has the potential for a lot of holes. It's like the midichlorians in Star Wars. Sometimes we don't need an explanation. Yeah, but I mean, I could argue that there's a lot of things like midichlorians in One Piece. Hockey is a lot of the times midichlorians because it's not always, fully explained. Rokushiki and its connection to potentially hockey, never really fully explained. Voice of all things. We need explanations for all of these things. That sounds cool. I know, I made it sound way cool. Like, in my mind, I was like, it's done. And then I was like working through it, and I was just like, oh, I just made this really plausible. The Force is hockey, exactly. Yeah, I like the stream, guys. I think the discussion today was really good. I think we hit like a lot of really interesting topics, and yeah, it's a good chat today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I'm gonna run, but as always, I appreciate all of you. We got one last super that just came in, just KKII 2440. Emu talks kind of sporadic, like it's from beyond. Perhaps it's trapped between worlds. I wonder if Jamie Jones is from the Void Century. I'd like Davy Jones to be from the Void Century also. I mean, are you talking about the specific way that they speak? Because that's more like just showing the fact that this person is, you know, centuries old and doesn't get out much to really change their dialect to match how people talk now. It's kind of like if we got into a time machine and went to like even the 1700s, or you know, and like you just keep jumping further. We go to the 1400s, like you almost wouldn't be able to have a conversation with people because the like English has evolved so much. You know, it's like read Shakespeare, right? You see the way that like he's talking, and it takes a level of like, you know, you have to kind of, it's not that like he's speaking a different language, or you know, it's just the way words went together were a little different. And the further and further you go back, you know, if we went back 800 years, it would sound ridiculous, because language evolves, just like slang and all that kind of stuff. And then slang gets, you know, introduced into, you know, actual common dialect. But if you're talking about like the other side of that, not the actual specific language, just like when they speak, Emu I think if they even do have an actual corporeal form, which we don't know, Emu is, from my interpretation, is puppeteering from the Holy Land. So it's, they might be going in and out like it's Wi-Fi. You know, they're far away. Even 10 years ago, it's different. Yeah, exactly. 5G Wi-Fi hockey. Yeah. Also implies Oda has to write everybody speaking like this in the Void Century. But yeah, that's gonna be tough. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, he just talks at random times. Appreciate you. All right, guys, that's it. No break. So hey, we're back next week for 1164, which hopefully is a good one, because it'll be the chapter 2 days after my birthday. So it'll be the birthday chapter for this year. So give me a good one, Oda. All right, guys, everybody, take care. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.